Well, it's Hot Mike with Hastings and Lindahl. It's a Monday night, and the Broncos preseason is concluded. Scott, what hot takes do you have fresh off the oven for me coming off that hot Bronco preseason?
Well, just sitting here, Andy, watching Monday Night Football. Oh, well, that didn't
No, you're
start for a
not.
few. That doesn't start for a few. Actually, I'm watching The Office
That's a good
on my
show.
new,
Good, solid
on my,
show.
in my new recliner.
Yeah, you want to show everybody the sweet couches that you're on there?
Oh, there's there's a little
Yeah.
Warden Junior Warden.
Okay, Brian. That's awesome.
Yeah, we got couches. We went old school couches that recline, love seat type things. But whatever. I grew up in Kansas. You're not really from Kansas or Oklahoma if you don't have at least one lazy boy in the house.
Hey, man, lazy boys are where it's at. My buddy's got one right over. You've sat in it, the one you watched the game in that one day. Man, that thing is legit. Lazy Boy makes quality product. There's no doubt about it. So
there's nothing better than a recliner on a Sunday afternoon watching sports, cold beverage on the table beside you, hand down your pants and fall asleep.
yeah, I could go there. Yeah, sure. And soon we'll be able to do it with a whole bunch of football. College gets going. Well, college has already gotten going. And then we got the Broncos. Got a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about. Let's start with the Broncos, though. We wrapped up the preseason yesterday. I don't know, man. It gets so hard, Scotty, because again, I don't want to discourage anybody from being excited about this team for maybe the first time since Peyton Manning was here. I get it. As a Bronco fan, you want to be excited, so be excited. I think you should be excited. I think there's better chemistry. I think there's better cohesion, and I think the offense, for the most part, looked like it knew what it wanted to do. That's all quality stuff. We haven't had a preseason showing that off in quite some time. Hackett never got going like that. Peyton never got it going like that last year. It never really looked that way under Vic Fangio. So there are good reasons to be excited. Now, the cautionary tale comes that, they game planned a little more. And I don't fault Sean Payton for this. I want to be clear. Sean Payton's trying to get what, for the first time in his career, a rookie quarterback used to calling his plays and his verbiage. So he game planned a bit. And there's no doubt about that. That's fine. That's good. It establishes whatever. But we all have to remember preseason can be the great kind of mirage, right? You just got to be careful with some of it. That's all.
Yeah, it is what it is. When you're an established team, and let's be honest, the Denver Broncos are not an established team. When you're Bill Belichick and got Tom Brady as your quarterback and you're winning Super Bowls, or you're the Kansas City Chiefs, who, by the way, went 0-3 in their preseason, it's a different take. You try to get some rust knocked off. You try to get a few things set up. And to be honest with you, usually if you're a really good team, give absolutely nothing away to what you're going to do because you have confidence in your team that once the regular season rolls around, they're going to be able to do. Well, and I look at what Sean Payton did, and I'm with you. I think it's brilliant, but I'll add on the what he did. Yes, you got to get a young quarterback ready. Yes, you got to get a young quarterback in the right headspace. And I think that's why you game plan. That's why you make things easy, set him up, no plays there he likes and he's comfortable throwing it. That's great. And I think mission accomplished as far as, even if it's a falsehood a little bit, that he thinks, hey, I can do this. But here's another thing also. I mean, they scored 27, 34, and 38 points in 3 preseason games. We haven't seen numbers like that in 3 games, preseason or regular season, whatever, since Peyton Manning left. What you also did by game planning, you're able now to show a rather young team. I mean, overall, it's a fairly young team. Sans maybe the offensive line and Cortland Sutton, that, hey, this stuff does work. This stuff, when executed and run right, can put points on the board if we can move the football. So I think not only did they do that for Bo Nix in particular, for Zach Wilson, who's had a beatdown in a Jets uniform for 3 years. And the rest of the guys going, oh, wait a minute. Maybe Sean Payton is that genius they put in all the newspapers when they hired him. So I think, and yeah, I'll make too much of it, but I think this is the best I've felt going into this to a season. Listen, we were out there watching Hackett. I didn't feel good going in that Seattle game. You know, I, I wasn't jumping up and down and say, "Hey, man, this is going to be a lollipop." Uh, we saw last year, and listen, John Payton's changed this year, and I think part of that change is he had such a hate for Russ, and we can get on Russ and say Russ wasn't what it was advertised, wasn't who he thought he was. He had a little too much look at me in him, or whatever you want to say. But Sean Payton hated him so much, I think it affected how he coached. And I'm not sure he did a good job coaching last year. We can blame it all on Russ. It ain't all Russ. He did not do a good job coaching last year. I've watched him this year coach, and I've seen things that's impressed me, and I'm like, could have been different, could have worked out a little better had you had some of this attitude with Russ. I don't know. I just think he was so anti. But listen, I feel better going into this season than I have since probably Gary Kubiak's last year, to be honest with you. And that was with a young quarterback that hadn't had any snaps either.
Yeah, I'm with you. But again, it just felt like they still had something in place with the defense, and I trusted Kubiak. And if Kubiak liked it, Simeon, if he liked Simeon, that was good enough for me. I know that wasn't popular with everybody else, but look, man, Trevor Simeon's still the guy that's won the most games and given you the best season since Manning hung him up. So, look,
you realize, you know what? Maybe this is the symbiotic relationship you and I have, but do you realize that you and I were like the it seemed like the solo supporters of Simeon when he was playing while he was a starting quarterback. So much hate for him for I have no idea why. And I think you and I were the two guys that were pulling for it and saying, "Hey, listen, Zach Wilson's been balling in practice. You got." And everybody wanted, even some guys that played. Zach Wilson's been balling, and I think it accumulated in that third preseason game.
those are the throws he's been showing us. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. Neither will you. He showed off you know what I think is crazy? We get to the end of the preseason and practice has shown, like, we put some things in practice that have actually shown to be true. You and I both thought Tim Patrick was in trouble after the first couple of weeks of camp because he wasn't making any plays. I thought that had all gone away after he got to play with the starters in Green Bay and then didn't dress yesterday. Then we get word today that they're shopping him around and eventually he'll be cut if they can't find a trade partner. So that played out. Zach has shown us in practice he makes the throws that made all the highlights yesterday. But the reason why I still would like to see Zach go against the ones is I want to see how much mentally fixed he really is, because we still saw a couple of throws that you're like, why are you doing that? Which he also did in practice. The first one that should have been probably a pick six because he threw it in the defender's belly because he tried that little waggle play and the blitz came from the outside and he turned right into a defender. So he needs to just throw that at the feet, man. That's got to be a better decision. So I'm not claiming Zach Wilson is 1,000% fixed, but I know this: it didn't affect him one bit. He still went out there and slung the ball around.
That was actually, to me, the second bad throw. I thought he only had two bad throws. The other one, when it blitz or pressure came right in his face, he's backpedaling. He just tries to throw it over the top of everybody. And I was saying this to Tyler today. See if you agree. I don't think Denver's had a lot of receivers in the last handful of years that helps the quarterback out. And when you say you got to have a guy that can help your quarterback once in a while, you usually think making a catch in tough coverage, making a diving catch on a fourth down or whatever it is. But you know what else that a receiver can help his quarterback in? On that bad throw, breaking the play up yourself and not letting it get picked.
Right.
And I think it was Dulcich on that one too. Well, maybe not have been. Yeah, I think it was a tight end.
Kroll
came back on the play, made a
Kroll
play.
broke it up.
It was a Kroll, and it broke the play up. And guess what? You get to live again. Now the one I thought do you remember the old movie? God dang it, Longest Yard.
Yeah.
And he said just let him blitz. And he went three times, hit the guy right in the nuts, three straight plays in a row. I thought maybe he's got something against that outside linebacker or that D in there. Maybe he's got an issue with him, and he just fired it right in his gut or something. I was like, that was a horrible throw. But you know what? The one over the top of the corner and underneath the safety on the sideline was brilliant. The throw for the touchdown was good. Listen, he threw longer passes. Think about this. Multiple long passes in that game that neither one of the other two guys have thrown the entire preseason, including practice.
Right. And that's the key. They're not even trying that one. Now, we didn't get an answer, although we did get one yesterday. Stidham looked at a couple long and chose not to throw them. I am curious to see how Bo plays now that he knows it's his job. Will he try a couple deeper ones? Because I hope the burden of thinking an interception is going to cost me this job goes away. But we'll see. Look, and people, I've been trying to explain this all along. It's not just those long bombs. It's that tight fit with the guy in tight coverage. Not afraid. He had another one where he was rolling out one way, and I mean zipped it into somebody with I can't remember because it was just like a first down pass, but it moved the sticks with a corner and trail. Corner was right on the hip pocket of the receiver, and he's just firing it in there. You're going to need that every now and again. You know what I mean?
Well,
You're going to need that. That's going to have to happen.
The two announcers, McCarthy and Tiki, both talked about it. He says the ball might have been a little bit behind, but look at the velocity that it got in there because that was good coverage.
Right.
And I'm not sure, at least I'm not seeing that type of play either from Stidham or Bo. I think Bo's arm's okay. I think Bo could put some zip on it. And listen, Stidham seems like a nice guy. I called him, a play on words with Keeler talking about Prime, but I called him the Duke of Delusion. Saying I'm a starting quarterback. I know I'm a starting caliber quarterback. Dude, this is your fifth season. No one else has thought that.
Scotty, not only that, and here I'll turn a light on. Not only has nobody else thought it, you had a chance. You and I kind of talked about this. He had a chance to win the job last year. Stidham had a chance to lock the job down going against the Chargers with a backup quarterback in Easton Stick and an interim head coach, and then the Raiders with Antonio Pierce may be the coach now, but he was the interim coach then. So I don't, look, I get it. I'm glad you feel that way. I don't have to tell you as a pro athlete, you probably have to feel that way. But, look.
You want to feel that way, but I'm not sure you go out in the media. I mean, of all the teams I'm on, I say, listen, I prepared myself as a starter because I know I'm as good as any starter out there. People looked at me and go,
Are you?
Now, I think you prepare that way, absolutely, and I don't think he'll ever not be prepared. But I did find this funny. He said, "Yeah, I was a little hacked off," and again, Duke of Delusion, that he actually thought he was going to start. But I saw it last Wednesday when I was out there. He was horrible. And that was the day that supposedly Sean went to him and said Bo's going to be the starter. He was bad. In fact, we had Leggy on that day later on, and we were talking about the quarterback. He said, it looked like Stidham got the news he wasn't starting, and he was doing a little pouting in practice today, which was good for me because now I got two guys that weren't there going, oh, maybe Scott does know what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm not positive. I think as you guys played the cut a million times, I do think the intention as we stand right now, 8-19 on Monday night, we're probably keeping all three. Because I know Tyler had said on your show today he doesn't think there's going to be a lot of value for either guy. It's fine. You don't have to deal them right now. It's like a stock. Then I'll hold on. So if now's not the time to sell high, and Tyler might be right. A lot of people are trying to get their, get everything kind of pared down, try to get their rosters figured out. They got their own cuts to make, things like that. But that doesn't mean someone's not going to need a quarterback pretty soon. We've already seen some quarterback injuries. You get a team, what about the Niners? You get a team all of a sudden that thinks they're in it, and Brock Purdy goes down. All right, you think you can do with Jared Stidham what you did with Brock Purdy, then you deal him off. You know what I mean? I'm not giving up. If it's me, and it's not just because how I feel about the guy, I don't know how you trade Zach Wilson at this point without at least continuing to try to nurture that thing. Because I still think if let's say Bo Nix gets out there and by sometime after Halloween or whatever you want to say, it just appears the guy needs a break. It's too much. It's not whatever it is. The different club in the golf bag is Zach Wilson. I don't need another. Like, if it didn't working for Nix for some reason, I don't believe it's going to work with Stidham. I just don't. Nix does things a lot better than Stidham can. Nix rolls. He's got a great, like you said, that great short range throw when he had to fire in the touchdown to Tim Patrick. That I think we all thought meant he was on the team. That was a heck of a throw, man. He juiced that ball to him, and he did it on the throw, he did it on the run, throwing it back across his body. He's got that short game fireball. I'm not worried about that. Stidham doesn't have that. And Nix runs better than Stidham. So I don't need a lesser version of Nix as the backup.
And on the 21-yard run by Zach Wilson, did he show that he's got little legs when he needs to too?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll agree with the announcers. I don't know that I love the fact that he decided to go diving in first, but yeah, he's showing I'll run the football.
Yeah,
that was always thought of as an athlete.
I went or I was watching that, so I went back and watched that play. If you notice, he slows down like he's stepping out of bounds, and as soon as he sees the defender kind of raised up a little bit, he cuts it back up and picks up the first down. That was like 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 20, something like that, and he got 21. So I thought he set. I mean, go back and watch it. He slows down like he's going to go out of bounds, and then he just all of a sudden takes a slight little bend left and goes right between the thing. Didn't take a hard shot. Picked up the first down.
Well, I talked with Leggy a bit today just to get his feel for things. Did Mike Sanford tell your show, or did he just say it on his show that Mike McDonald, the new head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, who I believe was the old Ravens coordinator, is what Mike called medieval with the stuff he does defensively? The zone blitzes, the disguised looks, like from what Leggy was telling me. I mean, again, everybody needs to be patient with Bo Nix come game one, because it sounds like Mike McDonald fools a lot of veteran quarterbacks knowing what they're looking at. So
Leggy said it on your show the first 2 games. He said Pittsburgh's going to do that too.
Well, and by the way, after looking horrible, Russ came back. He had a couple nice throws. Tomlin saw everything he needed to see and got Russ out of there right away. It's going to be Russ versus the Broncos as long as he doesn't re-hurt that calf in week 1. So that's going to be an interesting game, man. That's going to be a big game. We'll see how this all goes. Because if you don't get that one, you're 3 out of 4 on the road, Scotty. I don't love that. That's a tough start.
Because it's your only home game in the first 4, and it's a big game because it's an AFC opponent that you need to hop over and keep in front of if in fact you want to try to make a playoff. You know, if you can have tiebreakers in all the AFC, East, North, what is Pittsburgh in? If you can in all those games win those games, I mean those are tiebreakers. Not much, but they're tiebreakers. You both end up 9-8, and the winner goes in. You got to win against Pittsburgh. Guess who goes?
Yeah. Look, I don't even care if they make the playoffs. My biggest thing out of this year is give me some entertaining football, and show me Bo Nix is truly the guy. Show me your idea for the offense, which I think we got a taste of in the preseason, is actually going to work, because I have my reservations about dinking and dunking your whole time. So I'm hoping Sean's first play or two, as I've told you, I think last week, design a play over their head, throw it over their head, show us what you kept under wraps or whatever. So who else do you think there could be any more veteran surprises? I mean, I know they're shopping P. Ryan, but Leggy's been telling us he thought that was going to happen since he saw Estime in camp.
Yeah.
I mean, running back and receiver are the 2 big clogged positions, if you will. Let me ask you this.
I love Beatty. I threw that out there today. I am intrigued by this guy, and I understand. Well, yeah, practice squad, but dude, I think he can be more. I think he can help you. Is Williams sewn in for sure number 1 guy, or if somebody needed a back, would they look to move him?
I like Javonte a lot. I know most don't. I think he's back to form, so I wouldn't move him just yet. I think him and Estime are going to handle the role, but I think Beatty's the perfect look. We've been debating it all off season, and you guys, especially on your show. Do they really need the fullback or not? Is Michael Burton really going to play enough to justify his spot on the roster? Because if you don't run, if you don't truly dedicate to the run, and there's just a part of me, Sean Payton loves his passing game. So if you're not really going to dedicate to the run, and you had problems doing it last year, even though it was winning you games, then what do you need a fullback for? I'm all for a fullback because you and I come from the time of Terrell Davis with the best fullback in the league, Howard Griffith, blocking for him. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
But I just don't think you're going to use – I don't know that you'll be using Michael Burton enough that you have to have the guy.
If you're not going to use him, then what's our guy 45, the tight end that can play fullback?
Yeah.
And you got to keep him as your 4th tight end, don't you?
Yeah, you could use him as not only an extra tight end, but he can be the fullback, and then that lets you keep another. Then Tyler Beatty's on the roster, right?
Right.
That's how you look at it.
I say today. So give me your answer. Pleasantly surprised, hopefully surprised, or cautiously surprised that Dulcich made it out of training camp and looked pretty good.
I'm excited for the prospects of Greg Dulcich. Now it's a hammy, and you and I have seen a lot of guys that just seem to get hamstring problems, and it was a bugaboo. I'm hoping he can, I guess, hopefully surprise. I don't know how to answer it. I'm hoping he can be the Julius Thomas of this group that finally figures out how to get healthy and then just stays healthy. That's what I'm hoping. So, because if he's healthy, he's a difference maker. He's another draft pick, as you kind of put it in the past, because he's a guy you haven't had the last couple of years that you really need.
Well, if he stays healthy and is that guy, then do you settle for not drafting the tight end from Ohio or from Georgia?
Not after what I heard this weekend. Now, again, people can throw it back in my face, and that's fine. I asked every Raiders guy out there, how's Bowers looking? Now, he's got a foot injury right now because, the Raiders have kind of crummy facilities, but they said he's looked amazing. He's fast. They're putting him in the backfield. They're dotting him all over the formation because that's how versatile a player he is. So he bottom line was one of the best players in that draft, and you passed on him. So I hope this all works out. And Dulcich and he together probably could have been pretty big fun, but it's under the water, whatever, and if you didn't want the tight end, then you could have went and got Turner. Is it Dallas Turner, the pass rusher that the Vikings had that's already been tearing up things too. But again, look, it's preseason. I'll ask you this question because I asked this in Nate earlier, and I'm curious your answer. Where are we with the truth? Because I thought I remembered this because I told you the Broncos have a jammed wide receiver room. Okay, we spent the first couple 3 years. I spent the first couple 3 years of the Jerry Jeudy career or whatever thinking this kid's going to turn it around. I think you always had reservations that you expressed, so I won't pin it on you. But I always thought that room was good. And then finally the last 2 years, I'm like, it just isn't really that good a room. And I'm done being fooled that it's going to be a good room. But now all of a sudden everybody's on the bandwagon of, hey, look at how great these guys all are. Is that just Sean Payton's talent to get guys open and really the talent in the room what is leading to this? Now all of a sudden the wide receivers are good.
And if we're going to get Bo Nix some love also, you did have a quarterback that could go over the middle in between the hash marks.
Well, there you go. He could see it.
Bo Nix shows he can do that. I would say this. I heard you guys talk about it today. I disagree with Nate. I think it's pretty good. Do I think it's elite? Not yet. But you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2-3 years ago, I was watching this kid. I went, oh my gosh, this guy's pretty good. No one heard about him. Then last year he blows up. Could Vele be that guy that all of a sudden, 2 years ago, you're like, what's going on? And by the way, you know what round St. Brown was drafted in?
4, because I heard you talking.
Right. So now all of a sudden you're like, well, wait a minute. Could Franklin, could Vele, all of a sudden 2 young guys, competitive, come up, and all of a sudden, they have no stars.
Right.
I think this is. I didn't like last year either, to be honest with you. I mean, who? There was nobody, and I've been off Jeudy for a long time. I don't think he likes contact. I think he's too thin. It'll be interesting to see what Cleveland will get from him when the real thing starts with him also. And
And
maybe
you paid him now. He's been paid.
maybe he'll have a real quarterback and he'll be good. I don't know. Um, I think they're going to be pretty good. And I think that's why Tim Patrick was expendable. You save a little bit of money on the cap, I believe. I think Cortland Sutton's your big receiver. I mean, all those guys. Josh Reynolds. I mean, he's no tiny guy. Pele's not a tiny guy. I mean, they got some big guys. The question is, what can Franklin and Mims, excuse me, possibly do? You know, Mims, who didn't, I don't think did anything all training camp long at all. But we also know the top end speed there. So can that be guys that get stuff going? I think they're pretty good. But then again, I think they got a steal in the draft of Bailey. I think he's going to be more than a fourth or fifth guy. I think by the end of the season, he's going to be your second or third guy. In fact, I would believe if Josh Reynolds moved to number one, Cortland was kind of your possession guy, and Bailey moved all the way up to two.
Boy, I don't know if I trust Reynolds' hands enough to be one, but maybe he'll shock us. Maybe I'm just living off too much of one bad game in the NFC Championship. Cortland is a 2, and I think Cortland's a very good 2, but Cortland is a 2. See, I don't know if they have anybody that tops more than a 2 because.
Well, but let me ask you're too young to remember, and you're not a huge baseball guy. There were back in the 80s, I believe it was the 80s, they used to make fun of the St. Louis Cardinals because they had no power hitters. They had no over-the-top hitters. But if you look at the roster, they had 6 of their 9 starters hit over 300. And they somehow got to a World Series. And they were like bottom or next to bottom in home runs. Well, how do you do it? Because you can always get on base. So you may not have any ones. You may not have a Justin Jefferson that or an Adams or somebody that just blows out the top and whatever. But if you got 3 2s, 3 of a kind beats an ace every time, doesn't it?
If they can be reliable, you betcha. Yeah.
I'll take 3 2s.
But you need a little of what Cortland gave Russ last year, okay? You know, Cortland made some catches that, most guys ain't making. But you need a few of those each year. I go back to T. Higgins. T. Higgins made that crazy play, I think, to help him get into the playoffs against Baltimore. I think it was against Baltimore, where he caught the ball nearly going out of bounds, stopped, flipped his body around, reached the ball over the flag, the goal line, got the touchdown. I mean, that's the kind of dude that you need. The almost superhuman effort guy. I don't know if they have any one of those. It's why I've been saying, why not go get a Higgins or an Ayuk or something like that?
When John Elway won 2 Super Bowls, who was the number 1 receiver?
You want to go? Maybe, look, man.
I
have my opinion. How about that? But anybody I say, the other 2 guys will get mad at me.
I love Rod Mack, but would they be deemed on rosters at that time a number 1 receiver?
But what about when you look back at the balanced career? Did Rod not prove to be a number 1 receiver? Not only did he get done with Elway, he got it done with Plummer, he got it done with Greasy, he got it done,
But I also remember John Elway telling me, I said, I have to get Rod an easy catch early because if he gets one and he drops it, he'll tend to drop a couple in the game. That's not a number 1 receiver's mindset. But he worked with Rod. I think Rod obviously became the star he should be in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, if you look at him and watch him, they wouldn't scream number 1. I mean,
but you know why you don't need that?
Rod was undrafted. McCaffrey was on his 3rd team by the time he got to Denver, and now all of a sudden, look what's going on. And let me ask this: when it's 3rd down and 7 on the biggest play of the year for an AFC Championship, who did he go to?
He went to Shannon Sharp, who I was going to tell you, you can have 2 number 2s if you've got the dynamic tight end. You need a space changer somewhere.
What did you just say about Dulcich just a while ago?
He better be. Yeah. You know what? You're right. If Dulcich gives us what I hope, then having these receivers will be just fine because Reynolds has more speed than I think some people realize, and Cortland's a physical mismatch, but And look, I still hope Mims turns into something, man. Mims is a weird deal. I don't know what's going on there. You know, I hear theories, but no one knows for sure. So, no comment.
No, I haven't heard as much as you have, but I know. Well, I guess I have. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
It
We're not at liberty to say just yet.
it seems weird that a guy that makes all pro on special teams, that everybody said that they crushed him last year and he's going to be a giant part of this team, basically has. I mean, he got a touchdown, but I mean, did he have any other catches?
Well, but when have they thrown to him?
The
Even in
quick,
practice, nobody throws deep.
No.
You don't need him if you're not going to throw deep balls. I know that much. So
Is Mims tradable?
I don't know. You just said it. He barely played. You got to give him some tape somehow.
Well, but you still got on the resume a thing that says AP or PB. I mean Pro Bowl.
Yeah, well, he's a young guy. See, here's the thing, though. Right now, when you talk tradable, everything's maybe a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. You're not getting any great value. Now, you can use those 7ths to move up later in the year if you want to do some at the deadline or pull off a draft day trade and try to move. You need the 7ths. It's better getting something than nothing.
How did we get Vele's draft?
7th rounder.
Because we traded for Zach Wilson. They took a 6th and we swapped 7ths.
Right. So.
And now, and again, you're right though. And God, I didn't realize I'd gone out and bought a pair of orange-colored glasses. I will say this: I like feeling this way, but because the last 2 years, heck, last 5 years, when it came to the end of November, I was done. I mean, it was over. I mean,
they were boring to watch. I believe this: they won't be boring to watch this year. I don't think.
Yeah.
Now, again, hey man, I'm not done being concerned about the back end of the defense. They've had a couple nice games, but I still put faith in the guy that I talked to, that I trust to know, who told me point blank, the safeties in particular and the nickel corners want to bite on trash motion that is just meant to pull you out of where you're at to open something up. And he told me he was concerned. It happened last year until Justin Simmons got back. So PJ Locke and Brandon Jones and all these guys got to show us, because the Chiefs are the king of that motion. The Chiefs love to run something to make you think that's the primary, only to get you out of your zone so they can actually go to their primary. So you can't be biting on that crap.
Or dump it to Kelsey 5 yards off the line of scrimmage so he can pick up a first down.
Well, if you could get that kind of tight end, then, you're really going to have something. See, that's just the thing. We're all going to be trying to judge Bo Nix as we go. The reality is Bo Nix, I think, still needs a little bit more help. If the offensive line can stay healthy, I think they're going to be okay. But I'm telling you what, man, if you're going to hit the waiver wire, you better find you some backup O-linemen. And everybody's looking for O-linemen, so I don't know if you're going to find any. But, Scotty, that O-line, dude, guys got tossed. There were 3 plays alone, and there were probably 5 plays total Zach Wilson had to eat helmet, eat Rydell, because
that one sack up the middle, I think it was Forsythe.
He just tossed Forsythe like it was his kid.
Yeah. And when he's supposed to be competing for the starting center.
Yes.
And he just embarrassed Forsythe.
I don't know, man.
I know Tyler likes to, 90% of the sacks are on the quarterback, and that one ain't on the quarterback.
Not when you get tossed out of the way and he can't even. Oh, man. I'd love to know what was going through Zach Wilson's head there. All right, so you got the new couches. When does it fall for you? I know you guys are starting to pull out a couple of the Halloween decorations, but when in Scott Hastings' mind is it fall?
Hold on. Well, I like to wait for fall so I get. Now, what'd you say that we pulled out a few of the what?
The Halloween decorations.
You see the TV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah. Oh, it's all the knickknacks are out.
Yeah, all the Halloween knickknacks. We got totes right there, stuff for them.
Here's the thing, man. You need to talk to the warden. because King
Well,
Supers,
here
hey,
you talk to her.
Warden, and I love me some Halloween. King Supers held their water. King Supers normally throws their crap out mid-July too. King Supers still don't have a dang pumpkin out yet, and neither does the Home Depot. So,
You know what is the first sign of I will say here's two or three signs that fall is upon us. One, pumpkin spice it hits the racks, and I was told the pumpkin spice has started to hit the rack already.
I saw a post suggesting, I didn't go look, but suggesting Starbucks rolled it out this weekend.
Yeah, so that's one. Two, candy corn at the grocery store.
Man, what a trash food. I will vote for the presidential candidate that outlaws candy corn. How's that sound?
Oh my God. Why would you not like candy corn?
Because I'm American.
It was invented by American. J.R. Candy Corn. Colonel C. Corn.
Oh no, there it is. Yep. I'm looking at the Starbucks app. We'll just get the confirmation now. It's on there. Go get you some pumpkin spice. It's on there.
You know what? I'm picking up Ellie.
You're going to get one, aren't you?
I'm taking Ellie to school at 7:30 tomorrow. On my way home, I'll be boop, beep, beep, boop,
if I got to drop Hayden off at school, should we meet up for a little? I ain't having no pumpkin spice with you, but I'll meet you for a coffee.
You don't even drink coffee. You put ice and stuff in yours. You're like a frou-frou coffee drinker.
I like a coffee shake.
Yeah, you do like a coffee.
I don't like coffee.
But you'll drink an espresso shake.
Yeah, so what?
Okay, no, I like it. Hey, the chocolate chip chocolate frappuccinos, pretty good.
Make that face again. What are we doing?
What
are we doing?
What was that one face that Patrick used to make that always crack you up?
He had the glasses. You got the glasses. He walked by an old dude in the office one time. He and I were both going to bug our buddy Marky, and this guy was like typing, and he just gave us like the look up, the fat guy look up. He didn't move his head. He just simply turned his eyes up at us, and we kept going. It just looked ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, hey guy, you can't lift your head.
I can remember Patrick doing that imitation, and you would be bawling, crying, and tickle you so much.
Because he had it down pat. There's a lot of things he used to do that was so funny.
I'll just say this.
Yeah.
Totally right.
I'm aware. Yeah, I heard.
Hey. P. Watt, Patrick.
Didn't find a ghost.
Chick McGillicuddy.
You didn't find a ghost, but you found.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. All right. Well, we've about
done. Honey, that's it. This is gonna get better. Hey, we got plenty of sports to talk here real soon. You gonna go see Beetlejuice? By the way, that's coming out soon. Hey, let's make another date for a movie that we don't go see.
Well,
are we the guys that make plans to go see things that we know will never happen? Is that just what this is?
Well, Warren just said you don't even like Halloween. I mean, you don't like candy corn, but no. How about this? How about your other Andy? Does she like Beetlejuice?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, the four of us, we go to Beetlejuice.
And the 5.
No, you don't get to go.
Why?
Because it's R.
No, it's not. It's PG-13.
You haven't seen the first one, so you can't go.
I don't care. I watched the second.
A 10-year-old that thinks she's 17 wants to go to Beetlejuice.
Yeah, welcome to the world. Just don't give her an Instagram page yet, and you're all right.
Oh, I know. She wants one of them too.
Yeah, well, that's a no.
Yeah, no.
Tell her all the men in her life are saying no to that.
Yeah, be the last time she'll hear that. All right, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Give me a famous witch.
What was the
good night, Toodles?
You got the Witches of East Lake.
Oh yeah, the Witches of Eastwick. Wow, look at you going. Who's the Hocus Pocus ladies? Good night, Bette Midler. Works for the movie and not for the movie.
Good night, Sex in the City lady.
Yeah. Good night, all. We'll come back next week. Monday
night.
nights, we're gonna do this sucker. We'll do it again next week on Labor Day, maybe.
And good night to the Sanderson sisters.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
They hot. Anyway, good night.